Good afternoon. I really feel I'm interrupting a very special moment, and I do apologise. That was quite inspiring, I think, for everybody that is in this room. I think it's a moment that we will certainly remember and will endure in our own memories. And what inspiring words from the Prince and from all of those heroes of Ukraine that we have just witnessed. Ladies and gentlemen, Prince Harry, former Prime Minister, Chair, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is really an honour and it's humbling for me to address you this morning, this afternoon now as it is, under such a powerful and timely title, which I'll abbreviate to Is Light Ahead? Let me begin by sincerely thanking the organisers, of course, for convening this forum and bringing leaders from political, military, societal together here in this room. These are the leaders that are actively shaping what comes next. I would also like to convey my deepest respect and regards to the Chief of Defence of Ukraine, General Seán, who together with my colleague Pino, we had the opportunity again yesterday to spend a lot of time with and get some reflections. But his leadership, I think, reflects the extraordinary courage and professionalism of Ukraine. And to the Chair of the NATO Military Committee, who is here with me and who has and remains steadfast in the commitment to continue the Allies' unity at this very critical time, and indeed to all of the leadership in this room. It's not just symbolic that we are here, but it reflects greatly the continuity and unity which we are forging together at this time. 4 years into a war, is light ahead? It is no longer rhetorical. It is real, it is urgent, and it is shared not least by the Ukrainian people themselves, whose courage and resilience continue to define the struggle. We all remember those days back in 2022 when we witnessed images spread across our world of Ukrainian farmers towing away abandoned Russian tanks. At first, the world applauded. They applauded the ingenuity, the resourcefulness. But beneath that moment was a deeper truth. A truth that resilience does not reside alone in the armed forces. It lives in the determination, creativity, and the defiance of ordinary people. That is what turns a nation such as Ukraine into a fortress. And it is a lesson the European Union would do well to carry forward. Because the Ukrainian people are not only fighting for survival, they are defending the future, and in so many ways, the future of Europe. Despite the darkness of war, the destruction, and the immense human cost, Ukraine continues to generate light. The light that comes from courage under fire, from resilience under pressure, and from innovation under constraint. Now, where I come from in Ireland, we have an annual event called Darkness into Light. Every year, people gather before sunrise and walk together through the early hours, beginning in darkness and finishing as the sun rises. It is very much a simple but powerful reminder that even in the darkest moments, we are not alone, and that we must look out for one another. In the coming weeks, I will do this once again, and I will carry this moment with me as I do so. Because light, when it comes, is something we reach together. And I am often reminded of that when I think of Ukraine, when I visit Ukraine, because what we are witnessing here is not just endurance, it is collective strength, shared resolve, and a determination that extends far beyond the battlefield. We have all witnessed this. A nation expected to fall in days, still standing years later. A military that has adapted at remarkable speed and scale, integrating new technologies and approaches in real time. A society which continues to function, to create and to innovate under conditions which would test any nation. Ukraine has endured a long night, but it has not stood still in the darkness. It has moved forward, step by determined step. The impact of this war has been profound. For Ukraine, it is measured in lives lost, families displaced, cities damaged, and futures interrupted. For Europe, it has been a strategic awakening. The illusion that large-scale war could not return to our continent has been shattered. Security is no longer theoretical. It is immediate, tangible, and shared. Because Ukraine's security is Europe's security. This is not a message of solidarity. This is a statement of reality. The European Union, together with its member states, has responded with determination. Collectively, it has already mobilised over 130 billion in military, financial, humanitarian and economic assistance, making it, as you heard already, the largest supporter of Ukraine since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion. Another Ukrainian support loan of 90 billion is due to be finalised as I speak today. Another central pillar of the EU support is our EU Military Assistant Mission, EUMAM Ukraine. It has already trained over 90,000 Ukrainian soldiers, strengthening their effectiveness on the battlefield. This effort is very much closely coordinated with NATO, which continues to serve, and it's important that this is said, as the bedrock of Europe's security and defence, providing the essential framework for collective deterrence and defence, while also playing a key role in coordinating support to Ukraine across the alliance. The European allies and member states are stepping up, taking greater responsibility for their own security and defence in concert with Ukraine and investing more in their own capabilities. In parallel, the European Union is intensifying its focus on preparedness, readiness and resilience, strengthening its own ability to act, to sustain and to respond across the full spectrum of crisis. This directly reinforces NATO and its core tasks of defence and deterrence. And these efforts are not duplicative. They are complementary. The EU strengthens the foundations, the industrial capacity, mobility, societal resilience, while NATO provides the military framework. Together, they create a more coherent and capable European security architecture. Looking ahead, the EU is actively preparing the next phase of EUMAM so that when the political decision is taken, it can adapt and expand rapidly. This work is being closely coordinated with NATO and with the coalition of the willing, ensuring coherence, avoiding duplication, and enabling a swift and unified response when the conditions will allow. Ultimately, this stronger European security architecture will deliver one clear outcome: greater, more sustained support for Ukraine. At the same time, we must recognise that this war does not exist in isolation. Developments elsewhere, including conflict involving the United States and Iran, are having tangible effects. They increase pressure on already strained supply chains, particularly for critical capabilities such as air and missile defence systems. Geopolitical instability can also drive energy prices, with a consequence of sustaining Russia's war economy. In this context, the European Union is taking action against Russia's shadow fleet. These substandard and often uninsured vessels operate outside international norms, enabling the circumvention of sanctions while posing significant risks to marine environment, critical marine infrastructure, and coastal economies. By working with international partners to strengthen maritime governance and limit the operation of such vessels through sanction packages, the 20th of which I'm happy to say was agreed yesterday, the EU is addressing both the economic and security dimensions of this challenge. This is the reality of today's interconnected world, where the events in one region directly influence outcomes in another. Our response, therefore, must be equally coordinated and sustained. Now, this forum addresses many of these challenges directly: nuclear security, international solidarity with Ukraine, transatlantic unity, global security, defence and modern warfare technologies, countering disinformation, and of course the resilience of cities and energy infrastructure. These are interconnected challenges, and Ukraine stands at the centre of all of them, not only as a recipient of support, but as a contributor of experience, innovation and leadership. Indeed, Ukraine has demonstrated extraordinary ingenuity and agility in adapting to the demands of modern warfare. What began with impoverished resistance, recalling the tractors, as I mentioned earlier, has evolved into the integration of some of the most sophisticated capabilities on today's battlefield. Ukraine has rapidly scaled the use of drones, autonomous systems and commercial technologies, while strengthening digital resilience, battlefield medicine and logistics under constant pressure. Commercial satellite communications, navigation and Earth observation systems are now embedded in daily operations, enabling a level of adaptability and situational awareness that is shaping the future of warfare. And in this context, deeper alignment in training, systematic lesson sharing, and strengthened industrial partnerships between EU member states and Ukraine will deliver clear mutual benefits. And yet, even in the most challenging conditions, a distinct sense of resilience and spirit prevails. The Ukrainian people do not have the luxury of fear. They are too busy adapting, innovating, finding solutions. That spirit, practical, determined, and quietly defiant, is one of Ukraine's greatest strengths. Of course, optimism must be grounded in realism. The challenges ahead remain significant. The war continues, and the strain, military, economic, and societal, we recognise is very real. Support, therefore, must be sustained, and where necessary, strengthened. Fatigue is a risk, and it must be actively managed because the stakes have not diminished. If anything, they have become clearer. So is there light ahead? Absolutely. But not by chance, not by waiting. It has come through continued effort, unity and commitment. The light ahead is not something we passively hope for. It is something we actively build together. Allow me to leave you with 3 reflections. First, Europe's commitment must remain unwavering. The European Union will continue to support Ukraine for as long as it takes. Second, unity is our greatest strength, between nations, between institutions and partners. And third, Ukraine's future is Europe's future. A secure and resilient Ukraine strengthens Europe in every sense. In every Ukrainian I have encountered, and I've encountered many and again yesterday, I've seen not naive optimism, but quiet confidence, a belief grounded in action, resilience and sacrifice. So yes, there is light ahead, not because the path is easy, but because Ukraine continues to move it and because we move with it. The European Union stands with Ukraine because Ukraine's security is Europe's security, because Ukraine and its future is in the European Union, and because together we will share that the light ahead is not just visible, but reachable. And if I can finish, again, by that inspirational panel we've just had and recalling it, and the heroes, of course, that are here, and remembering those that cannot be here. And if I may humbly say, heroes never die. Heroi ne vymeraють. Slava Ukraini.